Awkward, shy, afraid, uncomfortable. This is how I felt after I got my first periods, and this is how probably millions of girls feel when they start to menstruate. Now you might be wondering, why do we have to hear this from a 17-year-old teenager? But believe me, it's exhausting to continue to pretend being normal when you're internally having intense period cramps. It's exhausting to be dismissively told that you're suffering from that time of the month. Niagara Falls, strawberry season, or bad luck. It's exhausting to continuously fight back against age-old traditions that ask you not to pray, touch, or visit temples, and the list goes on and on. Nearly 800 million people between the ages of 15 and 49 are menstruating right now. And yet, we are still not talking about it. Women have been menstruating for thousands of years. It's the reason you and I even exist. Yet, there's an element of shame associated with a woman's monthly cycle. Girls hardly open up about their periods to their father or brothers. The thought of judgment, or rather shame, takes over. If not at home, women at professional places are forced to believe that it is not normal to take care of themselves while they are menstruating, because it is how it is. But it cannot be denied that women are affected by periods. Nearly 25 million women suffer from a condition called endometriosis, a condition that makes period pain so bad that women may pass out from it. Nearly 20% of women suffer from menstrual symptoms like cramps, nausea, etc., which are debilitating enough to hamper daily activities. Now, menstruation being rarely discussed in schools or families, menarche often arrives to girls with little or no knowledge of what is happening. A research study by UNICEF showed that 1 in 3 girls in South Asia had no knowledge of their menstruation before their first periods. Management of menstrual pain is a key concern, yet little sympathy is given to those alone facing this regular pain. In the UK, 80% of the women have been found suffering from menstrual symptoms like irregular or heavy bleeding, but had not consulted a health professional. 27% of them admitted that they found it too embarrassing to talk upon. The rooted silence surrounding menstruation is putting lives at risk, not only in India, but globally as well. Nearly 1 out of 5 girls drop out of school every year when their period starts, as they do not understand what they are going through. Basic menstrual hygiene is seen as a waste of money, even after fairness creams and cosmetics. We in the room here are privileged enough to afford menstrual hygiene. But what about 2/3 of girls in rural India? What about the struggles of homeless, transgender, displaced, and intersex people who menstruate? What about them? Moreover, sanitary napkins remain out of reach to a vast majority in India, as only 57% of the menstruators can afford it. Many of them end up resorting to unsafe materials to manage their periods, as their schools and workplaces don't yet provide free menstrual products. Well, do you know about the pink tax? It is a charge on menstrual products. In India, sanitary napkins were exempted from taxes after the applauding efforts of activists. But since the tax on the raw materials continues to be the same, consumers are very less benefited from it. Menstruation does not only affect a girl physically, but mentally too. Only for once, imagine yourself to be that young girl in the class who sees her skirt stained, who's afraid to approach for help. When girls are totally aware about their bodies, the facts, only then they can stand against the biased practices. We in the room here are educated enough to understand far more adverse consequences of not speaking upon the topic. But we prefer to stay silent. And why shouldn't we if menstruation is a women's issue? At the grassroots level, we perceive menstruation to be a women's issue, but decisions about how to care for menstruation are made by a selected few men. Even though this difference is an ironic disparity, we continue to see that men continue to contribute in decision making where menstrual management is concerned. Therefore, men and women need to be equally aware and clear in their understanding of what menstruation is so that women can work freely with pride and honor. Thus, participation of men is an important key to change to empower men. Also, men understanding the pain which a woman goes through during menstruation will help to bring harmony in families, communities, and relationships. Will help to bring harmonies. The first step towards normalization is to say the word period. Rather than referring it to as that time of the month, can't go into puja for a week or can't have pickles. Secondly, educate girls from the beginning about periods, period cramps, use of tampons, etc. But make sure that the discussion is about awareness for both boys and girls equally and not a red flag of shame and segregation. And third, we should stop associating periods with adolescence, with adulthood, curse, sexuality, holy silence or celebration. We should understand that periods is a basic normal body function. If we can speak, digestion, blood circulation, respiration, all natural biological processes normal, why should menstruation be off limits? India's legislative system has been fairly backward in introducing menstrual-friendly policies, unlike the countries of Japan, Italy, etc., which provide menstrual leave to women every 2 to 3 days of the month. An Indian food delivery's decision to give 10 days of per year leave to women triggered a massive discussion about gender equality and menstruation-friendly policies in India. Now, many corporate firms have come forward to speak and to provide women menstrual leaves. Imagine the smallest of schools in India, including menstrual education for the impressionable children of the 6th, 7th, and 8th standards. Imagine teachers having healthy discussions on the topic where both boys and girls are equally aware. Imagine creating a generation that associates periods with strength rather than shame. So, let's widen the mindsets, change the existing, and let's say periods allowed. Thank you.